as we collect the requirements from the various components for their needs. This is when we're going to establish a contract. Now, in many cases, we'll have records of what we did.
In simple terms, Mr. Nayak, you listen to what these guys say, right? You trust these guys. They're the professionals. They give you the numbers. And by and large, you're going to take their numbers. You said this earlier that Mr. Medina is more of an expert in this area than you are, correct?
Yes.
So these are the professionals. These are the guys who have the background. They give you here's what we need. This will keep our guys safe. So in 2012, our understanding is you ordered 103 million rounds. Is that correct? 2012, fiscal year 2012.
I think it's a little bit more than 100 million.
100 million, okay.
Yeah, right.
What did you order this year?
I think so far it's 41 million rounds.
And you plan on ordering how much more the rest of the year, or are you going to stop there? What are you going to do?
Getting out of my lane.
We are ordering more.
Okay. But it will be probably the same, but it's, again, based on what you think is in the best interest.
It should be pretty close to what we expended last year.
Okay. And here's what I'm getting at. Today there's a story. It's on the headline on the Drudge website, and it's, I think, a Washington Times story. It says the sequestration, tight budgets means Department of Homeland Security is going to buy less ammunition. So, again, I guess what I'm asking is this going to in any way jeopardize the safety of, and picking up where Chairman Chaffetz was, you said this may result in less training, shoot less rounds, which means they don't use up as many rounds, and you won't have to buy as much in the future. Is it going to in any way jeopardize the safety of the good men and women who serve our country in uniform?
We are not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize the safety of the good men and women that serve this country. We are looking at trying to be as efficient as possible.
This gets back to where I was an hour and a half or 2 hours ago, the credibility of the Department of Homeland Security. I mean, Mr. Medina, Mr. Nayak, are you aware when the sequestration law was enacted and became part of the law? You know when that was signed into law? Mr. Medina, do you know?
I believe it was 1 March. Is that correct?
No, that's when it took effect. When did it become law? Mr. Nayak, do you know?
Not the exact date, but I will tell you that we were planning for sequestration in advance, and frankly, we know that budgets are tight, and we respect it, and we
do you think the Director of Homeland Security knew? Do you think Secretary Napolitano knew? You think she knew? I mean, it was August 2nd, 2011, so 20 months ago. And to now say that, oh, you know what? The guys who wear the uniform and law enforcement people across this country aren't going to get as much training hours because, and blame it on sequester. And the timing of this to be this news story to happen the day you're coming to testify about a concern many Americans have that you got too much ammunition doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And again, goes to this credibility concern that Mr. Gowdy and I have been talking about this morning, where you have 2,228 illegal detainees released, blame it on sequester. 8 of them were level 1 felons, blame it on sequester. Oh, by the way, Mr. Chaffetz is having a hearing today on the ammunition concerns that many citizens across this country have about DHS. So we're going to buy less ammunition and blame it on sequester. And American taxpayers understand you had 20 months to get ready for it. Again, goes right to the credibility of Secretary Napolitano and this agency. So when did you, Dr. Nayak, start planning for sequestration? Did you start on August 3rd, 2011, or did you start on March 2nd, 2013? You said you adequately planned for it. I mean, that's a long time in there. It seems to me a professional, I guess I look at it this way. A lot of families, a lot of small business owners don't have 20 months to get ready for some difficulty that may impact their family or their business, but professionals running Federal agencies had 20 months to get ready, and the day of a hearing, we get a headline that says, oh, sequester means we're going to buy less ammunition, potentially jeopardizing the safety of the people who work in our respective agencies. When did you start, Dr. Nayak?
First of all, thank you for your passionate inquiry. I would tell you that I grew up in small family business, so I completely understand budgets. And I will say that and I can only speak to my lane within Homeland Security, and I guess I could speak for my boss, the Undersecretary for Management. But even before sequestration, we can kind of read the tea leaves that things are tight in general. We're all taxpayers as well. And so we were looking at our budget for things that we could do to plan for not just sequester, but just overall good management. And because we did that before sequester, when sequester came in our particular lane, we were in pretty good shape, very
Did you guys give bonuses to folks who work in your lane, to use your term, in your metaphor? Did you give bonuses to people in 2011?
I'm sure there were some minimal bonuses.
Did you give bonuses to your folks in 2012?
I can't speak to it right now.
Did you have travel to conferences in 2011?
We have tightened down on everything,
But you did
including
it?
travel and conferences.
What about 2012? Did you continue to have folks go to conferences and travel in 2012?
I can't recall, very minimal, if anything.
All right. Again, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate this hearing, but the credibility of Secretary Napolitano and how she runs this agency is, I think, in serious question. I yield back.
Thank you. Does any other member have an additional question? Otherwise, we also have a second panel. So, the gentleman's